Yasodhanandana Rajajanarandana Yamunatiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Magyatamanandasya Jananjana Salakaya Chaksuramiलितं Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadavayam Tatati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sadvajatam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karna Sindhu Dino Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusati Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama. This morning we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 15, Text 28. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya. Sadvarga Samyam Aikane. I can't read. I forgot my glasses. What is this? Sadvarga Samyamai Kante. Kanta. Sarva Niyama Kodanaha. Tad Antai Yadina Yogan. Avheya Sramava have a high okay, it's better. Anyone else? Vaishnavis. Sattvarga, the six elements, namely the five working senses and the mind. Samyam ekata. The ultimate aim of subjugating sarva, all such activities. Niyama kodana, the regulated principles, further meant for controlling the senses and the mind. Tat and ta, the ultimate goal of such activities. Yadi, if, no, not, Yogan, positive link with the Supreme. Did lead to Shama Avraha, a waste of time and labor. Translation: ritualistic ceremonies, regulated principles, austerity, and the practice of yoga are all meant. But even after one is able to control the senses and mind, if he does not come to the point of meditation upon the Supreme Lord, all such activities are simply labor in frustration. Srila Prabhupada's purport. One may argue that one may achieve the ultimate goal of life, realization of the super soul by practicing the yoga system and ritualistic performances according to the Vedic principles, even without staunch devotion to the spiritual master. The actual fact, however, is that by practicing yoga, one must come to the platform of meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated in the scriptures, Jnana Vastita Tad Katina Manasya Pashyanti Yam Yogina. A person in meditation achieves the perfection of yoga practice when he can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By various practices, one may come to the point of controlling the senses, but simply controlling the senses does not bring one to a substantial conclusion. However, by the staunch faith in the spiritual master and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one not only controls the senses, but also realizes the Supreme Lord. Yasya Devi Parabhaktir Yata Devi Tata Guru Tashaite Katita Heyarta Prakashanti Mahatmana. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the purports or imports of the Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. It is further stated, Tushyayam Sarva Bhutatma Guru Shushrushaya and Tarantya Anjo Bhavarnavyam. Simply by rendering service to the spiritual master, one crosses the ocean of nescience and returns home back to Godhead. Thus he gradually sees the Supreme Lord face to face and enjoys life in association with the Lord. The ultimate goal of yoga is to come to contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unless this point is achieved, one's so-called yoga practice is simply labor without any benefit. Thank you. So Krishna confirms this in the Bhagavad Gita, that of all yoga systems, Bhakti Yoga is the highest of them all. Because, as is mentioned in this purport by Srila Prabhupada, that in any yoga system there has to be some ultimate conclusion. And if your conclusion is that God is impersonal, then you're destination. If your conclusion is that the Super Soul is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then you will go most right in the and if you understand that God is personal, by principle, learning, you it's mentioned here that it's not just about if you're able to do that through any yoga system, so you have achieved that, that's very nice, but it is not the ultimate goal. So therefore in Bhakti, we know that the ultimate goal, the ultimate perfection is to know Krishna, to be able to see Krishna, and ultimately to see Krishna face to face. So in our yoga system of Bhakti Yoga, we try to see Krishna in everything. And this is what Prabhupada demonstrated often in his morning walks. He would chant and then stop, and then he would give some example of something that he sees. Just to give you one example, in London he was walking and he, because sometimes when there are new trees being planted, they don't just plant the tree, but they plant the tree with two support sticks either side, and then some kind of strap around the tree and around the sticks, so that if there's any wind or some inconvenience there by nature's strong power, then the tree will not fall over. So in Bhakti we have the same. We start our practice devotional service. We have different support systems. There's is taking shelter of the spiritual master. That's support system. There are other support systems which are helpful. In fact, there are 9 different processes of bhakti, and any one of them can give us the strength we need to continue. So that, ultimately we come above the 3 modes of material nature, as we've already discussed, and we come to the mode of goodness. And in the mode of goodness, we start seeing things differently. Or things around us, we start seeing differently. One time Prabhupada was challenged, if there's a God, then show me God. It was a challenge. If there is a God, then you show me God. And Prabhupada's reply was, why you don't see God? No, he didn't say God is this and this and this. He said, why don't you see God? God is everywhere to be seen. So we can see God in the trees, in the sky, in the sun, the moon. Everything is there all around us, which is the existence. Around us is an energy of God, energy of Krishna. But because people are blind They're half asleep. They only see themselves. They don't see anything else. So when it rains, for instance, we can think, oh, it's raining. We don't say, oh, it's raining and it's an inconvenience for me. We say, oh, it's raining. This is very good for the trees and the bushes and flowers. They're all taking advantage of the rain. When it's raining and take a nice bath. We can see like that. So on this morning walk, Prabhupada was, another morning walk, Prabhupada was smashing ice, because there was ice puddles on the pathway. And he would go to the next one and smash the ice, and the next puddle, and the next puddle. And then suddenly he would stop and say, what does this mean? And, the devotee would say, well, it's ice, Prabhupada. Yeah, I know it's ice, but what does it mean? And no one could answer. So Prabhupada would say, ice is Maya. The ice is dangerous, you can slip, you can hurt yourself. It's not natural. The natural constitution of water is liquid, but when it's in contact with freezing weather, it becomes icy and slippery. So he gave this as an example of our own self, that naturally our hearts are soft. By nature, our heart is soft. But in contact with Maya, in so much contact with Maya, the heart has become hard. And then he would continue the example. The sun will rise this morning, it will melt the ice and take it to its natural constitutional position. And by taking shelter of the holy name, you're practicing every day to chant, gradually the heart will become softer and softer. So these are all the kind of examples you can see around you. If you see something, you can relate it to Krishna. So you're actually seeing Krishna. Indirectly, you're seeing Krishna. When you see the sun rising, that is one of Krishna's eyes. The moon is also one of Krishna's eyes. And not only that, we can also sometimes see existence being very exceptional. Just like the sun. The sun, what is it doing? Well, it's burning every day. And how long has it been burning? Well, it's been burning since it was created, which is millions of years ago. But is that sun reduced in size? No. Usually something that's burning, it will reduce in size and ultimately go into ashes. And there's nothing more to be seen. The sun has been burning. By now it should have disappeared, for sure, because that sun is very, very powerfully hot. But no, it remains the same, because that's how Krishna wants it. So it's a phenomena which is inconceivable to us. And if we're so absorbed in everything else around us, or especially ourselves and what we're doing, we don't see the existence. We don't see existence around us. And therefore, we're not fully grateful that Krishna is present and his energies are very powerful. There's also a nice story of existence, that a sadhu was giving a class one morning in a temple, And in his class, he was making the point that we must try as much as possible to appreciate what we have, what existence has given us on a day-to-day basis. And then after the class, there was one beggar, he came up, he was listening to the class, and he said, Maharaj, your class was very nice, it was very nicely spoken, but there's one thing in your class that I don't agree with. And the sadhu said, what was that? He said, well, you mentioned that you should have some gratitude for existence, that existence has given so much. But for me, existence has not given me anything. Just to get some bread every day, I have to, it's an endeavor just to get a piece of bread. So the sadhu, he said, oh, I see. So you don't have any money. Okay, I'll give you some money. But I want something in exchange. I want you to give me something. And the beggar said, well, I just told you I don't have anything. What can I give you? There's nothing I can give you. And the sadhu said, well, I won't ask anything that you don't have. So is it a deal? So then the beggar, okay, it's a deal. So, okay, I will arrange some money. I will go to the bank and provide you with a lot of money. But I want from you your 2 eyes in exchange. And the beggar said, well, what can I do with the money without 2 eyes? I don't agree with the deal. And Sadhu said, well, you said that you didn't have anything, but you have 2 eyes. And you appreciate those 2 eyes. And you don't want to give them to me in exchange for money. So therefore you do have something. Yeah. So this is how he was able to convince the man that you may not have something, but you also do have something. We have 2 eyes, we have 2 legs, we have 2 arms, we have a stomach, we have this body which we could see as a source of wealth within our life. So he was saying that, yes, you have forgotten that existence has given you so much already. But what you're doing is pondering over what you don't have. And this is the problem for most people. Even devotees, they talk like that. You ask them, you're everything okay? Yeah, I'm okay, but there's something I don't have. Right? And then they ponder on that, what they don't have, whatever it is. And then they ask me, so what shall I do, Gurudev or Maharaj, what shall I do? So then I have to answer that question, and they're expecting me to resolve their problem, but I cannot resolve their problem. But what I can do is change the frame of mind. And the frame of mind is, if it's incorrect, you can change the person's frame of mind. Okay, you don't have this and this and this, but you do have Krishna's, opulence is all around you. Just like if we look around this room here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pictures to the spiritual world. Windows to the spiritual world. So that's opulence in itself. We don't even have to go to the spiritual world to see the spiritual world. As Prabhupada would say, that these are windows to the spiritual world. So this is opulence. The holy name which we chant every day is a source of opulence. It's coming from Goloka Vrindavan. It has more power than anything else in this world. And if we seriously take it in meditation, we will be able to achieve perfection, even to the point of seeing Krishna. So everything is available. There's nothing that's not available in one sense. The existence is given that much that we can live in any circumstance. But we just need to appreciate it, that's all. And when we appreciate things, then we get all the things that we also need. This is another thing. Perhaps you don't have certain things because you're not appreciating enough. So when we start appreciating what we have, then Krishna will reciprocate with us, or material nature will reciprocate with us in extraordinary ways. And we find that in Krishna consciousness, that becoming conscious of Krishna, then so many wonderful things happen within our life as a devotee. Extraordinary things, not simple things, extraordinary things. But, because we're dull-headed, we're still half asleep. And let's face it, it takes many years to wake up from a sleep. In the morning, it takes you don't wake up immediately. You're doing things with half asleep. You're brushing your teeth half asleep. It's not like you're fully awake. It's only when you take a shower that you think, okay, right, another day. Yeah, but until then, you're half asleep. So in the same way, we've been serving Maya for so long. We've been dancing to her tune. So long we don't understand. We cannot even imagine. We sometimes celebrate birthdays. I'm 21 years old today. I'm 35 years old today. I'm 72 years old today. And, you have a birthday party and people sing happy birthday to you, and they give you a cake and you have to blow the candles out and you celebrate. Oh, yes, it's my birthday. But there's a question there. Are you really 21? Are you really 35 or 74? Perhaps you're older than that. And George Harrison, in one of his songs, he said, I'm 1,000,000 years old today. And even 1,000,000 years old, that could be being very kind. It could be 2 million, it could be 3 million. How long we've been serving Maya, we just don't know. So therefore, naturally, it will take some time for us to wake up. In fact, Prabhupada himself, he said that after 10 to 12 years, you may realize, oh, I'm a devotee. Okay. And then you start seriously reading the books. So what is a devotee? Until then, you've been doing all kinds of services, unknowingly, to some extent, that the seriousness of Krishna consciousness. So therefore, the package is a long journey. We're going through anartha nivritti. It's like a desert. No one likes to go through a desert. In the beginning, it's all opulence. We come to Krishna consciousness wondering, wow, so much opulence here. Why didn't I decide to do this before? And we're excited, very excited. We're excited to take darshan of the deities. We're excited to be in kirtan. We're excited to listen to Bhagavatam classes. There's so many things to be excited about within devotional service. And that's what it was like when we first came in contact with Krishna consciousness. It was very, very ecstatic. But then as months and years passed, we started to become a little familiar with everything. And not only that, we're going through this desert of anartha nivritti. And that means that things will get worse before they get even better. And the example is like a housewife. If she wants to clean the house, some spring cleaning, some extra spring clean, which means take everything off the walls, put all the furniture in the middle of the floor, roll up the carpet, whatever. Take down everything. And within minutes, the whole room is in a complete mess. But does the housewife say, I think I've made a mistake? No, she doesn't say that. She knows that she has a purpose, and that is to clean everything, the walls, the windows, the floor, the furniture, complete spring clean. And then when everything is back in its place, everything is all fresh and nice. The bhakti is also like that. Sometimes we wonder why our mind is so disturbed. That was a question that was asked by a devotee to one sannyasi. So why is it that before I came to Krishna consciousness, I was not so spaced out. My mind was generally okay. But having come to Krishna consciousness, my mind has given me so much trouble. No. Not only my mind, but my pride seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So why is my pride getting bigger? So the sannyasi said, well, before you came to Krishna consciousness, you had nothing to be proud of. But when you came to Krishna consciousness, you realized how much was around you. And, you started to feel a little bit more comfortable about yourself and life. But that also inflates the false ego and the pride, perhaps. Doesn't happen to everyone, but it certainly happens to many of us. I remember the first month or two in the temple. So one day I was listening to the temple president give the Bhagavatam class. And my pride started to inflate. And I said to myself, well, no big deal. I'm sure here's this person, giving a class to help me. But instead of appreciating it, I was not appreciating. I was rather I was thinking, no big deal. Such arrogance. And then what happened was, extraordinary, I would say. My first extraordinary realization. So the next morning, the temple president gave it an announcement. And the different announcements he gave, one was that, in fact, David is giving the Bhagavad Gita class that night. And I was like, what? Did he read my mind or something? There was no reason why he would ask me to give class, because it was unusual for a young devotee to give a class. But he said I should give the class. And I came up and I tried to negotiate this. And I said, come on, I'm not so senior, and anyway, I wouldn't know what to say. So I think it's better if you give it to someone who's more senior than me. And he said, no. He said, you were giving class tonight. And in those days, I remember those days very clearly. If the temple president said something, you had to do it. It was not a question, well, maybe not. You had to do it. It was one of the rules of joining the temple. You'd follow the authority of the temple and cooperate. So there was no way of coming around it, and I was practicing all day what I was going to say for the evening class. I chanted the Hare Krishna. We didn't have Jaya Radha Madhava because Prabhupada hadn't taught us that. So we would chant Hare Krishna before the class. And I chanted as long as I could, buy some time. And then I struggled through the Sanskrit. I struggled through the English to some extent. I had taken some of the class. And then when it came to giving the class, the only thing I could say was, well, actually, you're not this body, you're spirit soul. And then I was thinking of what else to say, and just nothing came. And then I said the most foolish thing. And there were no questions, and then that was when my face went red like a cherry, and literally see the flesh coming from it. I vowed there and then that I would never do that again. Look at one of my seniors and think that I was better than them. So these are all the lessons we learn on this road to perfection. And it was a hard lesson for me. I can so clearly remember it must have been the best of all, just to get some of the false ego to let go into the ether. It is not through Krishna's various potencies. Many wonderful phenomena occur in the world, such as a spider weaving a web. Have you ever watched that? A spider weaving a web? How perfect it is. How a web, how so perfect. What does it do? A caterpillar turning into a butterfly, a hummingbird flying backwards, and countless other wonders. You can be seen in the form of beautiful birds, such as parrot, peacock, and flamingo. Among the animals, the proud and majestic lion becomes their king. From the rich earth sprouts healing herbs and nourishing vegetables. During the day, the warm sun ripens the fruits, while at night the moon's cooling rays give flavor to the vegetables. He has many practical energies at work. Trees breathe fresh air into the world and freely give fruits, shade, shelter from the storm. Trees never complain. They even offer their own bodies for fuel. I remember once I was in a forest. It was in the middle of winter. Some like 10 below zero or something like that, snow everywhere. And I was looking at these trees thinking, wow, so much tolerance they must have. And then I had this desire to go and embrace one of the trees. I was kind of a little bit thinking, well, shall I do it or shall I not? But I need some tolerance. And it says in the Bhagavatam, there's where the instructions that Krishna was giving to Uddhava. He mentioned that there are many gurus, and there are gurus all around you. And one of the gurus is a tree, because the tree has so much tolerance. And within Bhakti Yoga, we must somehow develop tolerance, patience, tolerance. So I was thinking, should I embrace the tree? Maybe the tree will give me some tolerance and some patience. But I was, adamant. I must do this. I must do this. So I looked this way and I looked this way, just to make sure no one was going to watch me, because they already think we're crazy. Hare Krishnas are crazy. So then I came up and I embraced this tree. And I said, dear tree, you have been here so long. You must be full of tolerance and patience. Please give me just a drop so I can, assist my spiritual master in his mission. Anyway, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I don't know about the tree, whether. Yeah. Yeah, so the biggest insult in the materialistic society is this theory or this idea that everything happened from a big bang. And we've been brought up to that theory. Our education was, full of all things like that. Speculative knowledge, ascending knowledge. Now we have come across descending knowledge, and we know now that this Big Bang theory is absolutely ridiculous. It is the biggest insult you can offer to Krishna. Can you imagine how Krishna feels when the whole world is thinking on that platform that everything happened from a Big Bang? It's a complete insult. The actual theory itself, if you think about it, because people don't think about it, they just accept it. But when you come to Krishna consciousness and you get transcendental knowledge, the information of Srimad Bhagavatam, the 5th canto, how the creation was made, we get a clearer understanding that these so-called speculative theories have no value. And it's not just no value, but it's a complete insult. It's given us so much, and all we can do is just sidetrack all that. There is no God. Nothing happened from a Big Bang. The first astronaut went out into space. He was a Belarusi. And he went out, and when he came back, he said, I've been out into space, but I didn't see God, therefore he does not exist. That was his statement. So Prabhupada would say, don't try to see God, but act in such a way that God will see you. Then you will see him. So we don't try to see God, but we act in a way that God can see us. This is the way in which our Siddhanta works. There's many yoga systems where the emphasis is to see. We need to see God. We need to see with our own eyes. And in ours, we don't try to see. We want to see. That's not a problem. To want to see God is not a problem. But to say in the beginning that everything is revolved around seeing. Seeing is believing. No, we say, Rupa Goswami has said in Nectar of Devotion that all that is required in order to serve Krishna is a little bit of faith. Not much we have, otherwise we would not serve. A little bit of faith. But that is the only qualification needed to serve Krishna. Somehow or other, we have that little bit of faith, and therefore we are allowed to serve Krishna. Those who have no faith, they cannot even say Krishna's name. I remember we would go up and down Oxford Street in those early days. And there was one fruit vendor. He had some system, like a trolley or a trolley with wheels. So he could wheel his trolley in different places to sell his fruit. So he would be there every day on Oxford Street. But he didn't like the devotees chanting. It really upset him. We were only passing him, but it really upset him. We could see it every time we passed him. Sometimes he would, wait till we passed, and then he would get one of his rotten tomatoes and throw it at us. He was that demoniac. When we told the temple president, there's a guy out there throwing tomatoes at us, he said, it's okay. Krishna's mercy. Just tolerate. He said the only time you can rebel is if there's a devotee is attacked. And that's actually what happened, because one day he just completely snapped. And he waited till the Harinam passed. And then he ran over and he grabbed the last devotee on the Harinam. And he started beating him up. And the devotees, Haribol, Haribol, calling to the other devotees. And everyone turned around, and there was no question of discussion. They all just jumped on this guy. Except for me, because I was an ex-hippie and I was watching. And there was one devotee called Padma Lochan. I don't know if you heard of Padma Lochan. The Prabhupada disciple. He joined in the same time. He got his cartels and started wheeling, hitting stuff. Anyway, after beating him up, there he was lying completely dazed. The devotees just got up and just carried on the Harinam. It's not something you advise today. In those days, there was no such thing as suing. I think George Harrison was the first one to talk about suing. Is it a Beatles song? Yeah. So, don't do that today. It was in one sense, it was a mistake on our part to do that. But then again, the devotee was being insulted. But it's questionable whether you would do that today, because you could get sued. Anyway, we got back to the temple and we told the temple president what happened. And we advised him that it's probably better we don't go on Harinam tomorrow, because he may get some people, friends, and there could be some disturbance on the street. So maybe we should just cool it for a couple of days. But the temple president didn't agree. He said, no, you go on, carry on. Krishna will protect you. So something wonderful happened to this man. We came out next morning. I was at the back, in the back of the Sorry. I was afraid something was going to happen. Anyway, as we came down Oxford Street, he was there, and he was all bandaged up. And as we came closer and closer to him, fearing the worst, suddenly he looked at us and he said, "Hare Krishna." And I was thinking, well, there goes all my love and peace. The devotees beat him up and made him a devotee. With my love and peace, I did nothing for him. Oh, interesting. He never bothered us again. Because he had a conception. His conception was we're just silly people with, robes, no brain. And he thought that he could do anything to us. But then he realized actually that, we're not so stupid after all. That we will at least defend ourselves. We will defend not only ourselves, but we'll defend Lord Chaitanya Sankirtan rights. We have a right to go on the street and chant. But as I said, the only mistake we made was, trying to resolve it in a more gentlemanly way. Because Prabhupada was asked that by a reporter, how do you define a devotee? And Prabhupada said he's the greatest, he's the best gentleman of all. So we try to do that nowadays, 21st century. We try to negotiate our way around obstacles like that. So bhakti is a wonderful journey. We want to serve Krishna. We want to remember Krishna within our minds and hearts. And eventually we want to see Krishna. We're not demanding anything from Krishna, but with our dedicated service, Krishna will naturally take steps towards us and eventually show us, bit by bit, how he is right beside us and he's ready, nearly ready to reveal himself. There are different curtains that have different thicknesses, and as we progress, that curtain gets thinner, more thinner and thinner and thinner until there's a veil, and you can see Krishna, to some extent, but there is still a veil. And then when Krishna is ready to take that veil away, then you will see Krishna face to face. This is our process. We don't demand anything. If you want to reveal yourself, Krishna, then that will be very nice. We are longing to see you. And this is our mood. We're longing. It's a mood of longing. And in that mood, it's the safest mood. All this mood of, you show me God, then I'll believe. We won't get anywhere. So I'll just finish off with one of George Harrison's songs. Is that okay? It's called If It Wasn't For You. If not for you, I couldn't even find the door. I couldn't even see the floor. I'd be sad and blue if not for you. If not for you, the night would see me wide awake. The day would surely have to break. It would not be new if not for you. If not for you, my sky would fall. Rain would gather too. Without your love, I'd be nowhere at all. I'd be lost if not for you. If not for you, the winter would hold no spring. Couldn't hear a robin sing. I just wouldn't have a clue if not for you. If not for you, the winter would hold no... Oh, I was already read. Anyway, I'll read that one again. If not for you, the winter would hold no spring. Couldn't hear a robin sing. I just wouldn't have a clue if not for you. Okay. I'll stop there. Any further comments?
Maharaj, when you said you gave class and you were kind of falsely confident, then one of the stages, one of the unsteady forms of devotional service in the Madhura Kandamini is utsamai, which is false confidence. So is it better to have false confidence than no confidence at all?
Tricky question.
My understanding is that when we're going through all these different scenarios in Bhakti, some of them are favorable, some of them are not. But even the ones that are not very favorable, we can learn from them. There's an English saying that failure is the pillar of success. So with that saying, it means that failure is not a bad thing. That's what I'm saying. What do you think? Is failure a bad thing? Yeah. Keep going. Even Prophet, many I don't know if you said this to he said, even I have faults. If you look carefully, you'll see faults in me. But, we didn't see any fault. We couldn't find any fault. There were many that tried to find fault. But yeah, as long as we've got a body, condition, mind, and heart, inflated false ego, we will make mistakes. In fact, there is a statement, I don't know what it is, but there is a statement in the Bhagavatam where it says that even a pure devotee sometimes can make a mistake. As long as we're in this world, around us, which can sidetrack us from our goal. And I'm saying this because one of the prayers of what pure devotees would make is that, well, when I say pure devotee, I mean there are pure devotees and there are pure devotees. There's some that obviously will not make any mistake, but this verse indicates that as long as we're in this world under the cover of material energy, there's no way we can counteract. There's no way we can overcome material energy ourselves. And therefore, the acharyas, they would praise Krishna, your illusory energy is just too great for me to handle. Therefore, I'm praying to you to, you're the source of this material energy. So you please help me to overcome. So there's no point in making a mistake and then, shooting yourself in your own foot, basically. As Prabhupada would say, just move on. Your mistake is there, but just learn from it and move on. We're not infallible. This is the thing. We're not infallible. We're fallible soldiers. And we're prone to making mistakes. Anything else?
Mataji, she can translate. Mataji asked that you said that in one moment the illusion will take from our eyes and we can see the reality, real reality. How we can recognize that actually happened or just our own illusion in our head for a beginner devotee? Because if you start thinking, oh, I already see the Krishna, it's just we will grow our ego, not true ego. What's it called? False ego. So
What was that last thing?
What is the point where we can see that we are really see Krishna, or is just like a ghost?
Yes, it's a good question, and we always would like to have some kind of sign, Krishna, show me a sign, show me something, because I've been serving you now for 50 years, let's say. Or how many years have you been serving? Huh? 7 years, okay. So I've been serving 7 years, Krishna. I have faith in you. I have faith in the holy name. But, my mind sometimes, gives me a hard time. So show me a sign. Please, Krishna, show me a sign. You understand? And Krishna does show signs. You have not seen? Huh? An easy one is just to look, if you've got a picture of you before you were a devotee, and hold that picture and then look in the mirror, compare the two. That is a sign that it's working. Another sign you will see gradually during your japa period, that in the beginning, because your mind is restless, and it's kind of like, no, okay. You got your beef bag in front of you, and it's you got 16 rounds to do. And, you pick up your bee bag and you, Hare Krishna, 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 Krishna. You know, it's not easy. And when that frame of mind, you could be chanting all day long your 16 rounds. And it's a really, really intense fight between your desire to fulfill those 16 rounds and your mind's desire to tell you, what are you doing? Come on, I know you. You won't last very long. There's a fight. And then as we progress more and more, that time factor starts to reduce tremendously. And then, you start thinking, wow, I just did my 16 rounds in no time at all. And there are also different other tricks, not tricks, but recommendations, that the earlier you get up, the better you will be able to complete your rounds. Because the time factor is very powerful too. If you get up, let's say 3 o'clock in the morning and start chanting your rounds, by 5 o'clock you finish your rounds and you think, wow, that was so easy. Why is it easy? Well, because the time factor is the perfect time factor for chanting and meditating. There's also Brahma Muhurta time is there too. But try chanting 8 o'clock at night when you still have 5 rounds. Then the time factor goes very, very fast. And you'll be lucky if you can chant 1 round in half an hour. So these are some of the advices we are given. Prabhupada himself, he said, if you can chant your 16 rounds by 10 o'clock in the morning, you'll have no anxiety throughout the day. That's a very powerful one. I like that one. If you can chant your 16 rounds by 10 o'clock in the morning, you'll have no anxiety throughout the day. As long as you got rounds to do during the day, you will have a certain degree of anxiety there in your daily service. So when Krishna gives you the good intelligence to see, through these instructions and apply them, that's also Krishna. He's doing that for you. And then there comes a time when, your meditation starts to increase. You're not thinking anymore about what you're going to do today, or all your problems. You're thinking of Krishna, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's Leela, Krishna's form and Krishna's qualities. This is what we ultimately will achieve within this process. But it will take time. But I can say, I've been doing it for 50 years, I can say it works. I can verify. I have no doubt that the process works. And it will work for you if you're sincere. Be blessed. Someone else? No. No, you did. You did or not? I don't know. Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. I was thinking when you was talking about appreciation, if we don't appreciate our service or facilities that Krishna gives, does he take these things away?
Like what?
Like, like we do a service and we're not appreciating it. We find maybe some other time we don't have that service anymore.
I'm sure it happens. Be good. The bird flap flapping the wings. Remember that? So if you're doing that, that's sincerity. Sincerity of purpose, you're moving forward. But if you start gliding, for whatever reason, it's not that we have to be fanatics. That's the other side of the coin. That we don't rest the body properly. In the Gita is mentioned like that. You must eat enough, you must sleep enough. You got to look after the body. Prabhupada said, don't over-endeavor for nothing. And don't try to imitate the Goswamis. They would go all day and sometimes all night without sleeping, without even eating. We cannot imitate that. Why is that? Because they're so pure that Krishna is maintaining the body for them. He gives all the nutritiousness that they need to keep body and soul together. All right. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Bhagavatam class ki, Nitaya Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.